The seventh is memory versus margins. Again, we talked about this in our December updates. You can go back and look at that a little bit more detail. The premise here is that increasing the memory that the system has, meaning how much of the conversation does it remember, increases the context and usefulness. Now, context is also a technical term. They talk about the length of the context. So using that word both ways, right? Increasing context increases the context of the conversation, but it also is very expensive. Go back to December, you can see the math that we ran through that was just sort of an illustrative math. So the question is what to do about this. If we want these tools to be to increase in usefulness, we will need them to have longer memory, to remember the things we talked about earlier today, to remember the things that we talked about last month, to be able to ingest an entire history of a company's public filings to really understand what's happening. All of that stuff makes it more useful, but it makes it more expensive. Today's world is based on a fixed fee cloud-based system, right? So you pay X dollars a month, whether it's to us, for OpenAI or for Microsoft Copilot, and that has a challenge, right? There's clearly a trade-off that OpenAI will make $20 a month from you for ChatGPT Pro, but if you use it a lot, or if they expanded that memory window a lot, that would reduce their margins or even make them operate as at a loss for very active users. So we're watching for what the different options are in terms of the trade-off, in terms of the economics and the way that the pricing works, what that unit economics is essentially for your exchange, to be able to increase the overall context window. In this little sort of illustration 2x2, you can see that when the fixed price cloud that we live in today works in two different worlds. When there's a lot of memory, but the margin is low, or when there's a low amount of memory and high margins. That's kind of that bottom right is a little bit where we're working now, because the generative AI vendors are limiting what you can do with it. Right, so they limit the overall context window for each conversation. We've seen times where it sure feels like some of the tool vendors are constricting and limiting the response length.
Whole latency thing is really difficult too.
All kinds of things where they're trying to limit usage, and that's totally counter to everything we've tried to do in software before. Usually engagement and usage, and high engagement and high usage is what everybody's aiming for, right? You want people to use your software as much as possible, become really dependent on it. This is the key problem, is that you'll lose money the more people use it. So there's two different ways at the moment that you could see how this could work. One is that there's variable priced cloud systems. So as you're going up for inferences to the cloud and there's the cost in the data center, that you're paying more as the more you use it, or you're focusing more on using these tools on the edge on compute that you've already purchased, on a computer, on a server that you own and you've purchased, or on a mobile device that you own and you've purchased, and where therefore the increase of usage has no marginal cost to the software vendor. So this is key. Don't really know where all of the different outcomes will be. We so far have not been seeing any real attractive opportunities that follow the overall internet world, which is the more you use, there's more ads that get served. Because ads flowing through in generative AI hasn't really made sense yet. It's certainly possible somebody designs a way that works, and there is a real robust economy that can support free usage or high usage. But at the moment, that's not really there.